like a strategic genius. Every strategic genius in history used the same mental framework. Napoleon, Da Vinci, Tesla, Jobs, they all discovered something that 99.7% of people will never understand about the human mind. Your brain isn't just processing thoughts. It's literally engineering your reality every single second. Right now, as you're listening to these words, your mind is either working for you or against you. And here's what nobody wants to admit. Most people are walking around with a mental operating system that's designed to keep them trapped, reactive, and powerless. But you're different. The fact that you clicked on this video proves something about your brain that separates you from the masses. You have the neural capacity to recognize strategic value when you see it. You have the focus to commit to something longer than 15 seconds. And you have the intelligence to understand that mastering your mind is the single most important skill you can develop. In the next 2 hours, you're going to learn the exact mental frameworks that strategic geniuses use to control their reality. Not theory, not philosophy. The actual cognitive techniques that turn thoughts into circumstances, intentions into outcomes, and dreams into inevitable results. By the time this ends, you'll think differently, you'll see differently. You'll operate differently, and your reality will start reshaping itself to match your new strategic genius capabilities. But here's your first test. Right now, your brain is trying to decide whether to stay or leave, whether to commit or scroll away. This decision reveals everything about your current mental programming. Strategic geniuses recognize when they encounter rare valuable information and they seize it completely. Reactive people make excuses and leave. Which are you? Chapter 1. The Mental Architecture Revolution. Your brain is running on software that was installed without your permission. Every thought pattern, every emotional response, every decision-making process you use right now was programmed into you by other people. Your parents, your teachers, your society, your circumstances. You think you're thinking your own thoughts, but you're actually running other people's mental programs. Strategic geniuses understand something that changes everything. You can rewrite your mental software. You can upgrade your brain's operating system. You can install new thought patterns that serve your goals instead of limiting them. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't motivation. This is cognitive architecture reconstruction. Here's what most people don't understand about consciousness. Your mind operates on 3 distinct layers. And right now, you're only aware of one of them. The surface layer is your conscious thoughts, the voice in your head that narrates your experience. This is where most people think all thinking happens. But strategic geniuses know that the real power lies in the 2 deeper layers. The second layer is your pattern recognition system. This is where your brain automatically categorizes experiences, predicts outcomes, and makes split-second decisions based on past data. Most people never learn to access this layer consciously. So, they're at the mercy of whatever patterns got installed during their childhood. Strategic geniuses reprogram this layer deliberately. The third layer is your reality construction system. This is where your brain takes all the information it receives and assembles it into what you experience as reality. Here's the shocking truth. Your brain doesn't show you reality. It shows you an edited version of reality based on your current programming. Change the programming and you literally change what you perceive as real. Right now, I'm going to teach you the strategic mind installation protocol. This is how you upgrade from reactive thinking to strategic genius thinking in real time. First, become aware of your mental chatter. Notice that voice in your head commenting on everything. Most people think they are that voice. Strategic geniuses understand they're the one listening to it. Second, start questioning your automatic reactions. When something happens, your brain immediately categorizes it as good or bad, threat or opportunity based on your programming. Strategic geniuses pause and ask, is this categorization serving my goals or is it limiting my possibilities? Third, begin editing your reality construction. Start noticing what you're filtering out of your awareness. What opportunities are you not seeing because your programming tells you they're not there? This very moment, as you're processing this information, your brain is either accepting it through strategic genius filters or rejecting it through reactive person filters. Strategic geniuses recognize valuable information and integrate it immediately. Reactive people find reasons why it won't work for them. You have a choice right now. You can continue operating on your default mental programming, getting the same results you've always gotten. Or you can begin the process of upgrading your mental architecture to match that of strategic geniuses throughout history. The techniques I'm sharing aren't theory. They're based on studying how the greatest strategic minds think. Here's your first strategic genius challenge. For the next 60 seconds, catch your brain predictable errors. Notice when it assumes something without evidence. Notice when it creates meaning that serves your limitations instead of your goals. Notice when it categorizes something as impossible simply because you haven't seen it done before. This is your default programming in action. And now you're becoming aware of it. Strategic geniuses don't fight their programming. They study it, understand it, and then strategically replace it with programming that serves their vision. Your mental architecture is about to undergo a complete revolution. Every technique you learn in the next 2 hours builds on this foundation. You're not just learning information. You're installing new cognitive software that will automatically generate better thoughts, better decisions, and better results. Chapter 2: The Perception Warfare System. Reality isn't what you think it is. What you call reality is actually a highly edited version of infinite possibilities filtered through your current perception programming. Strategic geniuses understand that perception is warfare and most people are losing the battle without even knowing they're fighting it. Here's what's happening in your brain right now. You're receiving approximately 11 million bits of information per second through your senses. Your conscious mind can only process about 40 bits per second. That means your brain is filtering out 99.999% of available information and showing you only a tiny fraction of what's actually there. The question is, which fraction are you seeing and who decided what you would see? Your perception is controlled by 4 filters that most people never learn about. The first filter is your attention direction system. This determines what you focus on moment to moment. If you're programmed to notice problems, you'll see problems everywhere. If you're programmed to notice opportunities, you'll see opportunities everywhere. The same situation contains both. Strategic geniuses control which one they perceive. The second filter is your meaning-making system. Your brain doesn't just show you events. It automatically assigns meaning to everything you perceive. The same event can mean success or failure, opportunity or threat depending on your meaning-making programming. Strategic geniuses install meaning-making systems that serve their goals. The third filter is your possibility recognition system. This determines what you believe is possible for you in any situation. Most people have been programmed to see very limited possibilities. Strategic geniuses expand their possibility recognition until they see options that others can't even imagine. The fourth filter is your identity confirmation system. Your brain constantly looks for evidence that confirms your current identity and filters out evidence that contradicts it. If you see yourself as average, your brain will show you an average reality. If you see yourself as a strategic genius, your brain will show you strategic genius opportunities. Right now, I'm going to teach you the perceptual dominance framework. This is how you take control of all 4 perception filters and engineer your reality to match your goals instead of your limitations. First, hijack your attention direction system. Instead of letting your attention drift randomly, you're going to direct it strategically. Ask yourself, what would I be noticing if I were already successful? Then force your attention onto those elements. Second, override your meaning-making system. When something happens, instead of accepting your brain's automatic interpretation, ask, how could this event be serving my goals in ways I don't see yet? Strategic geniuses find empowering meanings in situations that crush other people. Third, expand your possibility recognition. Look at any challenge you're facing right now. Your brain is showing you a limited set of options based on your programming. Strategic geniuses ask what possibilities exist that I'm not seeing because of my current filters. Then they systematically look for evidence of expanded possibilities. Fourth, upgrade your identity confirmation system. Start looking for evidence that you're becoming a strategic genius. Notice when you think strategically. Notice when you see opportunities others miss. Notice when you make decisions that serve your long-term vision. Your brain will start filtering reality to show you more evidence of your strategic genius identity. Here's what's happening as you listen to this. Your perception filters are already beginning to shift. You're starting to notice strategic possibilities in your life that were invisible before. This isn't imagination. This is your brain showing you information that was always there but filtered out by your old programming. Think of your biggest current limitation. The thing that feels most impossible to overcome. Now understand this, that limitation exists primarily in your perception, not in reality. Strategic geniuses throughout history faced similar limitations and perceived opportunities where others saw only obstacles. The limitation feels real because your perception makes it real. Change your perception and you change your reality. Your perception is either your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. Most people let their perception be controlled by random programming installed by other people. Strategic geniuses take control of their perception and use it to engineer their desired reality. You're about to learn exactly how to do this. Notice how your view of your current situation is already shifting as you integrate these concepts. That's not positive thinking. That's strategic perception reprogramming in real time. Your brain is literally showing you a different version of your reality than it was 20 minutes ago. This is just the beginning. Chapter 3. The Strategic Identity Architect. Who you think you are controls everything you experience. Your identity isn't just your sense of self. It's the master program that runs all your other mental software. Strategic geniuses understand that identity is constructed, not discovered. And they architect their identity strategically to produce their desired reality. Most people inherit their identity from their circumstances. They look at their past results, their current situation, their social environment, and conclude, this is who I am. They think identity is fixed, determined by genetics or history or luck. This is the most expensive mistake you can make with your mind. Here's what strategic geniuses know that changes everything. Identity is a choice. You choose who you are moment by moment through your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Your past doesn't determine your identity. Your current circumstances don't determine your identity. Your chosen identity determines your future circumstances. Your brain has an identity reality feedback loop that most people don't understand. Your identity determines your perception. Your perception determines your choices. Your choices determine your results. And your results seem to confirm your identity. Most people are trapped in this loop, using their current results as evidence for an identity that creates more of the same results. Strategic geniuses break this loop by choosing their identity first, then aligning their perception, choices, and actions to match that identity. They don't wait for results to change their identity. They change their identity to create new results. Right now, your brain is operating from an identity that was constructed unconsciously. This identity includes beliefs about your capabilities, your worth, your possibilities, and your limits. These beliefs feel true because they've been reinforced by your experiences, but they're not truth. They're just current programming. Here's the strategic identity reconstruction method. First, become conscious of your current identity programming. What do you believe about your capabilities? What do you believe about what's possible for you? What do you believe about your value? These beliefs are creating your reality right now. Second, design your strategic genius identity. Who would you need to be to achieve your biggest goals? What would a strategic genius in your situation believe about their capabilities? What would they believe about their possibilities? What would they believe about their value? This isn't fantasy. This is strategic identity architecture. Third, begin operating from your strategic genius identity immediately. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until you have proof. Start making decisions from your strategic genius identity right now. Ask yourself, what would the strategic genius version of me do in this situation? Then do that. Fourth, collect evidence of your strategic genius identity. Your brain will look for evidence to confirm whatever identity you're operating from. Start noticing when you think strategically. Start noticing when you make strategic choices. Start noticing when you get strategic results. This evidence will reinforce your new identity programming. Your identity is shifting right now as you engage with this material. The fact that you're learning strategic genius concepts is evidence that you're becoming a strategic genius. The fact that you can understand these principles is evidence that you have strategic genius capabilities. The fact that you're choosing to invest 2 hours in mental development is evidence that you think strategically about your growth. Here's something most people don't realize. Your identity isn't just about you. Your identity affects everyone around you. When you operate from a strategic genius identity, other people respond to you differently. They treat you with more respect. They present you with better opportunities. They expect more from you and give you more support. Your identity change creates external reality changes. Think about someone you know who has a strong, powerful identity. Notice how they carry themselves. Notice how they speak. Notice how they make decisions. Notice how others respond to them. They're not pretending to be powerful. They've constructed a powerful identity and they operate from that identity consistently. Now, notice how your own presence is changing. As you integrate these concepts, you're beginning to carry yourself differently. You're beginning to see possibilities differently. You're beginning to make decisions differently. This is your strategic genius identity emerging. Your old identity served you at one level, but it's now limiting your growth. Strategic geniuses regularly upgrade their identity as they develop new capabilities and pursue bigger goals. They don't cling to old versions of themselves. They strategically evolve their identity to match their expanding vision. The strategic genius identity you're developing isn't fake or forced. It's based on activating capabilities that already exist within you. You have strategic thinking abilities that have been dormant. You have leadership qualities that have been suppressed. You have creative problem-solving skills that have been underutilized. Your strategic genius identity is about activating these dormant capabilities and operating from your highest potential. Chapter 4: The Thought Weaponization System. Your thoughts are not just mental activity. They're reality creation tools that most people never learn to use properly. Strategic geniuses understand that thoughts are weapons and they weaponize their thinking to create specific outcomes in the physical world. Here's what most people don't understand about thought power. Your brain doesn't distinguish between what you think and what you experience. Every thought creates neural pathways, activates hormones, influences your physiology, and broadcasts energy that affects your environment. Your thoughts are literally programming your reality moment by moment. But here's the problem. Most people think approximately 60,000 thoughts per day and 95% of them are unconscious repetitions of thoughts they had yesterday. They're running on automatic thinking that was installed randomly throughout their lives. They're using the most powerful reality creation tool in existence like a broken record player. Strategic geniuses take conscious control of their thinking and use it strategically to engineer specific outcomes. They don't just think. They architect thoughts deliberately to create results. This is the difference between mental activity and mental weaponization. Your thoughts operate on 3 levels that most people are unaware of. Level 1 is surface thinking, the conscious mental chatter you hear in your head. Level 2 is pattern thinking, the deeper cognitive processes that recognize patterns and make predictions. Level 3 is reality programming thinking, the deepest level where your thoughts interface directly with the quantum field of possibilities. Most people only control level 1 and barely. They have some influence over their conscious thoughts, but even that control is inconsistent. Strategic geniuses learn to operate consciously at all three levels, turning their mind into a precision reality engineering instrument. Here's the thought to reality engineering protocol. First, gain conscious control over your surface thinking. Instead of letting random thoughts flow through your mind, you're going to select thoughts strategically. Every thought you think either moves you toward your goals or away from them. Strategic geniuses eliminate thoughts that don't serve their vision. Second, program your pattern thinking for success. Your brain is constantly running pattern recognition software in the background, looking for threats, opportunities, and solutions. Most people have programmed this software accidentally through their experiences. Strategic geniuses program it deliberately by consistently feeding it empowering patterns. Third, access reality programming thinking through focused intention. This is where your thoughts connect directly with the creative forces of the universe. When you think from this level with clarity and intensity, you're literally programming reality to arrange itself around your intentions. Right now, as you're learning these concepts, your thinking is becoming more strategic and intentional. You're beginning to notice the quality of your thoughts and their relationship to your results. This awareness is the first step in thought weaponization. Think about your biggest goal right now. Notice what thoughts automatically arise when you focus on this goal. Are these thoughts expanding your sense of possibility or limiting it? Are they generating energy and motivation or creating doubt and resistance? Strategic geniuses evaluate their thoughts based on their strategic value. Your thoughts create your emotions. Your emotions drive your actions and your actions create your results. Most people think this process is automatic and uncontrollable. Strategic geniuses understand that by controlling their thoughts, they control the entire chain that creates their reality. Here's a technique you can use immediately. Every time you notice a thought that doesn't serve your goals, replace it with a thought that does. This isn't positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. You're not pretending problems don't exist. You're focusing your mental energy on solutions instead of problems. Strategic geniuses also understand that thought quality matters more than thought quantity. One clear, focused, intentional thought has more reality creation power than 1,000 scattered random thoughts. They train their minds to think fewer thoughts, but with greater clarity and precision. Your thinking patterns are changing right now as you engage with this material. You're becoming more conscious of your thought processes. You're beginning to evaluate thoughts based on their strategic value. You're starting to architect your thinking instead of just experiencing it randomly. This is how strategic geniuses throughout history created extraordinary results. They understood that controlling their thoughts was the key to controlling their destiny. They weaponized their thinking and used it to reshape reality according to their vision. Your mind is the most powerful tool you possess, but only if you learn to use it strategically. Most people are using a Ferrari, like a shopping cart. They have access to incredible mental capabilities, but they've never learned to harness them properly. You're about to change that. Chapter 5, The Emotional Mastery Protocol. Your emotions are not happening to you. They're information systems that you can learn to read, understand, and strategically direct. Most people are controlled by their emotions. Strategic geniuses control their emotions and use them as fuel for their goals. Here's what changes everything about emotional mastery. Emotions are not the enemy of strategic thinking. They're the energy source that powers strategic action. The problem isn't having emotions. The problem is not understanding how to use emotional energy strategically. Your emotional system is constantly generating information about your environment, your relationships, your progress toward goals, and your alignment with your values. Most people experience this information as good or bad feelings, and react accordingly. Strategic geniuses decode this information and use it to make better strategic decisions. Every emotion you experience contains strategic intelligence. Fear tells you what you need to prepare for. Anger tells you what boundaries need to be established. Excitement tells you what opportunities to pursue. Frustration tells you what needs to be changed. Sadness tells you what needs to be released. Strategic geniuses become fluent in emotional intelligence. But here's the crucial difference. Strategic geniuses don't let emotions make their decisions. They extract the intelligence from emotions, then make strategic choices based on that information combined with rational analysis. They use emotions as advisors, not as commanders. Most people have one of two dysfunctional relationships with emotions. Either they suppress emotions and try to operate purely rationally, which cuts them off from valuable information and energy, or they're controlled by emotions and make impulsive decisions that serve temporary feelings instead of long-term goals. Strategic geniuses integrate emotional intelligence with strategic thinking. Your emotional patterns were programmed primarily during childhood before you had the cognitive capacity to choose them consciously. You learn to fear certain situations, get angry about specific triggers, feel excited about particular possibilities based on your early experiences. These emotional programs are still running automatically. Here's the strategic emotional intelligence framework. First, become conscious of your emotional patterns. What situations trigger specific emotions? What meanings do you automatically assign to different feelings? How do your emotions typically influence your behavior? Most people are unconscious of their emotional programming. Second, decode the strategic intelligence in each emotion. Instead of just feeling fear, ask what the fear is trying to protect you from. Instead of just feeling angry, ask what boundary or value is being violated. Instead of just feeling excited, ask what opportunity the excitement is pointing toward. Extract the useful information. Third, choose your emotional state strategically. Your emotions are not just reactions to external events. They're states you can learn to generate internally. Strategic geniuses cultivate emotional states that serve their goals. They generate confidence when they need to take risks, calmness when they need to think clearly, intensity when they need to take action. Fourth, use emotional energy to fuel strategic action. Emotions generate powerful energy that can be channeled toward your goals. Instead of letting emotional energy dissipate randomly, strategic geniuses harness it and direct it toward productive activities right now. Notice what emotions are arising as you learn these concepts. Are you feeling excited about the possibilities? Skeptical about whether it will work for you? Overwhelmed by the amount of information? Each of these emotions contains strategic intelligence about your current mindset and what you need to focus on. Here's the emotional alchemy transformation method. Think of your most painful or frustrating memory. Instead of experiencing it as pure pain, extract the strategic lessons it contains. What did this experience teach you about human nature? What did it show you about your own strength? What boundaries did it help you establish? How has this experience made you wiser or more capable? This isn't about pretending pain doesn't hurt. It's about extracting value from every experience, including painful ones. Strategic geniuses transform emotional pain into strategic wisdom. They use their most difficult experiences as fuel for their greatest achievements. Your emotional mastery is developing right now. You're becoming more aware of your emotional patterns. You're beginning to see emotions as information rather than just feelings. You're starting to understand how to use emotional energy strategically instead of being controlled by it. Strategic geniuses throughout history have been masters of emotional intelligence. Not because they didn't feel emotions, but because they understood how to channel emotional energy toward their goals. They use their emotions as strategic assets instead of allowing emotions to use them. Your emotions are about to become one of your greatest strategic advantages. Instead of being at the mercy of random emotional reactions, you're going to become the director of your emotional experience. You're going to use emotional energy to fuel your strategic vision and create extraordinary results. Chapter 6: The Strategic Focus Weaponization. Your attention is your most valuable resource and most people are giving it away for free. Strategic geniuses understand that focused attention is reality-bending power and they weaponize their focus to create outcomes that seem impossible to others. Here's what most people don't understand about attention. Where you focus your attention literally determines what becomes real in your experience. Your brain uses your attention patterns to decide what to make visible, what opportunities to present, what solutions to reveal. Focus is not just concentration. Focus is reality selection. Right now, your attention is scattered across dozens of different concerns, interests, and distractions. Your mind is jumping from thought to thought, concern to concern, possibility to possibility. This scattered attention creates a scattered reality with scattered results. Strategic geniuses concentrate their attention like a laser beam. They choose one primary focus and direct most of their mental energy toward that focus until they achieve their objective. This concentrated attention doesn't just help them work better. It literally reshapes reality around their chosen focus. Your brain has 3 attention systems that most people never learn to control consciously. The first is your orientation system, which determines what you focus on moment to moment. The second is your concentration system, which determines how deeply you focus on whatever you're paying attention to. The third is your sustaining system, which determines how long you can maintain focus on a single target. Most people let all 3 systems operate randomly. Their attention gets pulled by whatever is loudest, most urgent, or most emotionally charged. They focus shallowly on multiple things instead of deeply on important things. They can't sustain focus long enough to complete significant projects. Strategic geniuses train all 3 attention systems deliberately. They choose what to focus on based on strategic value, not just immediate interest. They focus deeply enough to achieve real understanding and real results. They sustain focus long enough to complete significant objectives. Here's the reality-bending focus protocol. First, identify your primary strategic objective. This should be the one goal that, if achieved, would have the greatest positive impact on your life. Everything else is secondary until this objective is complete. Second, eliminate focus fragments. Identify everything that's competing for your attention that doesn't directly serve your primary objective. Social media, news, entertainment, gossip, other people's problems, minor issues that feel urgent but aren't important. Strategic geniuses ruthlessly eliminate focus fragments. Third, develop laser concentration. When you focus on your primary objective, focus completely. Don't just think about it casually. Study it, analyze it, visualize it, plan it, problem solve around it. Focus so intensely that your brain starts showing you information and opportunities you couldn't see before. Fourth, build focus endurance. Most people can only sustain quality focus for a few minutes before their attention starts wandering. Strategic geniuses build the ability to maintain focused concentration for hours. This extended focus period is where breakthrough insights and breakthrough results happen. Your focus is already becoming more strategic as you engage with this material. Notice how your attention has been sustained on these concepts for much longer than your typical attention span. This is evidence that you have strategic focus capabilities that you haven't been using. The fact that you're still paying attention proves something important about your mental development. Your brain recognizes valuable information and maintains focus automatically when the content serves your growth. This is your strategic focus system activating. Think about your biggest goal right now. How much of your daily attention do you actually spend focused on making progress toward this goal? Most people spend less than 10% of their attention on their most important objectives. They wonder why they're not making progress while giving their best mental energy to distractions. Strategic geniuses reverse this ratio. They spend 80% of their attention on their primary objectives and only 20% on everything else. This focused attention creates exponential progress instead of linear progress. Here's what happens when you weaponize your focus properly. Your brain starts showing you opportunities related to your focus that were invisible before. You start noticing resources, connections, and solutions that were always there but filtered out by scattered attention. People start offering you help and information related to your focus. Circumstances start aligning to support your focused objective. This isn't magic, it's how your brain works. Your attention determines what your brain shows you. Focus on problems and you'll see problems everywhere. Focus on opportunities and you'll see opportunities everywhere. Focus on solutions and you'll see solutions everywhere. Your focused attention is literally programming reality to arrange itself around your chosen objectives. Strategic geniuses throughout history understood this principle and used it to achieve results that seemed impossible to others who had scattered attention. Right now, make a decision about where you're going to direct your primary focus for the next 90 days. Choose one objective that will have the greatest impact on your life. Commit to giving this objective the majority of your mental energy until it's complete. This is how you begin weaponizing your focus for strategic results. Chapter 7: The Energy Management Supremacy. Your energy levels determine your reality creation capacity. Strategic geniuses understand that managing their mental, physical, and emotional energy is more important than managing their time. You can have perfect strategies and perfect focus, but without strategic energy management, you won't have the power to execute at the level required for extraordinary results. Most people are operating at 30% of their potential energy capacity. They wake up tired, struggle through their days, collapse in the evening, and repeat this cycle unconsciously. They accept low energy as normal and try to compensate with willpower and caffeine. This is like trying to run a race car on bicycle fuel. Your energy operates on 4 interconnected levels. Physical energy comes from your biology, your sleep, nutrition, exercise, and recovery patterns. Mental energy comes from your cognitive load, how much thinking, decision and problem solving you're doing. Emotional energy comes from your relationships, your environment, and your alignment with your values. Spiritual energy comes from your sense of purpose, meaning, and connection to something larger than yourself. Strategic geniuses optimize all 4 energy levels systematically. They understand that energy is not just about feeling good. Energy is about having the power to execute their strategic vision at the highest level possible. Here's what most people get wrong about energy management. They try to manage their time instead of their energy. They schedule activities without considering the energy required for those activities. They commit to goals without ensuring they have the energy systems in place to achieve those goals. They burn out and wonder why their willpower failed them. Strategic geniuses manage energy first, then time. They design their energy systems to support their strategic objectives. They invest in energy optimization because they understand that high energy multiplies the effectiveness of everything else they do. Your current energy patterns were established unconsciously through years of habits and circumstances. You probably eat when you're hungry instead of when it optimizes your energy. You probably sleep when you're tired instead of when it maximizes your recovery. You probably work when you feel like it instead of when your energy is at its peak. Here's the strategic vitality amplification method. First, audit your energy patterns. Track your energy levels throughout the day for 1 week. Notice when your energy is highest and when it's lowest. Notice what activities give you energy and what activities drain your energy. Notice how your sleep, food, and exercise affect your energy. Most people have never done this analysis. Second, design your optimal energy architecture based on your energy audit. Design your ideal daily energy flow. When should you do your most important work? When should you exercise? When should you eat? When should you rest? Create an energy-optimized schedule instead of a time-optimized schedule. Third, eliminate energy drains systematically. Identify everything that's draining your energy without providing strategic value. Negative relationships, low-value activities, decision fatigue, environmental stressors, nutritional choices that crash your energy. Strategic geniuses are ruthless about eliminating energy drains. Fourth, install energy amplifiers. Identify activities, habits, and choices that multiply your energy. Quality sleep, strategic nutrition, optimal exercise, energizing relationships, inspiring environments, alignment with your purpose. Install these energy amplifiers as non-negotiable systems in your life. Right now, notice your energy level as you engage with this material. You've been focusing intensely for an extended period, but instead of feeling drained, you might be feeling energized. This is what happens when you align your energy with strategic development. Energy-producing activities give you more energy than they consume. Think about the last time you felt truly energized and alive. What were you doing? What was your environment like? Who were you with? What were you focused on? Strategic geniuses reverse engineer their peak energy states and create systems to reproduce them consistently. Your energy is not fixed. It's not just genetic or based on your age or circumstances. Energy is largely determined by your choices and systems. Strategic geniuses in their 70s often have more energy than average people in their 20s because they've optimized their energy systems over decades. Here's something most people don't realize. Your energy affects everyone around you. High energy is contagious. When you operate from optimal energy states, other people respond to you with more enthusiasm, more cooperation, more respect. Your energy becomes a strategic asset in all your relationships and interactions. Strategic geniuses also understand energy rhythms. They know that energy naturally cycles throughout the day, week, month, and year. Instead of fighting these rhythms, they align their activities with their natural energy patterns. They do their most important work during their peak energy periods and use low energy periods for recovery and planning. Your energy management is about to become a strategic advantage. Instead of accepting whatever energy levels you happen to have, you're going to optimize your energy systems to support your biggest goals. You're going to have the vitality required to execute your strategic vision at the highest level. Feel your energy shift right now as you commit to strategic energy management. This isn't just motivation. This is your energy systems responding to aligned purpose. When you focus your energy on strategic objectives, your energy systems naturally optimize themselves to support your goals. Chapter 8. The Choice Architecture Mastery. Every choice you make is reshaping your reality. Strategic geniuses understand that decision M is reality architecture, and they approach every choice as a strategic move in a larger game. Most people make decisions reactively based on immediate circumstances and temporary emotions. Strategic geniuses make decisions proactively based on long-term vision and strategic positioning. Here's what most people don't understand about choices. You're not just choosing between available options. You're choosing which version of reality you want to create. Every decision opens some possibilities and closes others. Every choice moves you towards some futures and away from others. Your current reality is the accumulated result of thousands of choices you've made over years. Your relationships, your financial situation, your career position, your health, your capabilities. All of these exist because of the choices you've made. If you want to change your reality, you have to change your choice patterns. Most people make choices based on what feels comfortable, what seems safe, what appears easiest, or what other people expect. These choice patterns create predictable results. Mediocre outcomes that match mediocre decision M. Strategic geniuses make choices based on strategic value, long-term positioning, and optimal outcomes regardless of immediate comfort. Your brain has a 6-dimensional choice evaluation system that most people never learn to use consciously. The first dimension is immediate consequences. What happens right after you make the choice? The second dimension is intermediate consequences. What happens over the next few months? The third dimension is long-term consequences. What happens over years and decades? The fourth dimension is opportunity cost. What you give up by choosing one option instead of others. The fifth dimension is strategic positioning. How this choice affects your future options and capabilities. The sixth dimension is identity alignment. How this choice reinforces or contradicts the identity you're building. Strategic geniuses evaluate every important decision across all 6 dimensions. They don't just ask, "What do I want to do?" They ask, What choice serves my strategic vision optimally when I consider all consequences, opportunity costs, positioning effects, and identity implications? Here's the strategic decision supremacy framework. First, clarify your strategic vision before making any significant choice. What reality are you trying to create? What identity are you building? What positioning are you establishing? Your choices should serve this vision, not random impulses or external pressures. Second, expand your options beyond the obvious ones. Most people see only 2 or 3 choices in any situation. Strategic geniuses systematically generate more options. They ask, what choices am I not seeing? How could I reframe the situation to reveal better options? Who could I consult to discover alternatives I haven't considered? Third, evaluate choices across all 6 dimensions. Don't just consider immediate consequences. Think through how each choice will affect your life months and years from now. Consider what you're giving up and what strategic positioning you're creating. Choose based on comprehensive analysis, not just immediate preference. Fourth, make choices that build compound value. Strategic geniuses prefer choices that create value in multiple areas simultaneously. They choose actions that improve their skills while advancing their goals, while strengthening their relationships, while building their reputation. Every choice becomes a strategic multiplier. Right now, think about the most important decision you're currently facing. Apply this framework to that decision. What are the immediate, intermediate, and long-term consequences of each option? What are the opportunity costs? How does each choice affect your strategic positioning? Which option best serves the identity you're building? Notice how this analysis reveals aspects of your decision that you hadn't considered before. This is strategic decision M in action. You're seeing choices more clearly and making decisions more strategically than most people ever learn to do. Your choice patterns are already evolving as you integrate these concepts. You're beginning to think more strategically about your decisions. You're considering longer-term consequences. You're evaluating choices based on strategic value instead of just immediate comfort. Here's something most people never realize. Your choices don't just affect your circumstances. Your choices also affect your capabilities. Every strategic choice you make builds your strategic thinking abilities. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you increase your capacity for bigger challenges. Every time you choose long-term value over short-term pleasure, you strengthen your strategic discipline. Strategic geniuses understand that they're not just making choices. They're training their choice-making abilities. They're building the mental muscles required to make increasingly better decisions. They're developing the judgment that allows them to see opportunities and navigate challenges that others can't handle. Your decision-making ability is one of your most important strategic assets. The better your choices, the better your results. The better your results, the better your future options. The better your future options, the more freedom and power you have to create the reality you want. Think about the most successful people you know. Notice how they make decisions differently than average people. They think longer term. They consider more factors. They're willing to make uncomfortable choices that serve their strategic vision. They understand that great results require great decision-making. You're developing this same strategic decision-making capability right now. Every choice you make from this point forward can be a strategic choice that builds the reality you want to create. You have the frameworks and the awareness to make choices like a strategic genius. Chapter 9: The Risk-Reward Domination System. Strategic geniuses make uncertainty their advantage. While most people avoid risk and seek security, strategic geniuses understand that the greatest opportunities exist in situations that others find too uncertain to pursue. They don't eliminate risk. They calculate it, manage it, and use it strategically to achieve superior results. Here's what changes everything about risk management. There is no such thing as a risk-free choice. Every decision you make involves risk, including the decision to avoid risk. The safest seeming choice often carries the hidden risk of missed opportunities and stagnant growth. Strategic geniuses evaluate all risks, including the risks of playing it safe. Most people have a dysfunctional relationship with uncertainty. They experience uncertainty as anxiety and try to eliminate it through control, planning, and security seeking. But uncertainty is not the enemy. Uncertainty is where possibilities live. Strategic geniuses learn to be comfortable with uncertainty and use it as a strategic resource. Your risk evaluation system was programmed during childhood based on your early experiences with uncertainty and potential loss. If your environment was unstable, you might have developed risk aversion patterns that served you then but limit you now. If your environment was too protective, you might never have developed the risk assessment skills required for strategic success. Most people make risk decisions based on fear or greed instead of strategic analysis. They avoid opportunities that feel scary even when the risk is manageable and the potential reward is enormous. Or they pursue opportunities that feel exciting even when the risk is excessive and the potential reward is minimal. Strategic geniuses approach risk systematically. They develop sophisticated risk assessment abilities that allow them to pursue opportunities that others avoid while avoiding traps that others fall into. They understand that superior risk management is a sustainable competitive advantage. Your brain has a risk-reward calculation system that operates mostly unconsciously. This system was calibrated based on your past experiences and current programming. It automatically labels potential choices as safe or dangerous, promising or threatening without sophisticated analysis. Strategic geniuses recalibrate this system to serve their strategic objectives. Here's the risk mastery and opportunity creation method. First, redefine risk from potential loss to strategic positioning. Instead of asking, "What could I lose?" ask, "How does this risk position me for future opportunities?" Strategic geniuses take calculated risks that improve their strategic positioning even if the immediate outcome is uncertain. Second, diversify your risk portfolio. Don't put all your risk in one area. Take multiple small risks instead of one large risk. Take risks in different areas of your life so that success in one area can compensate for challenges in another. Strategic geniuses spread risk across multiple initiatives. Third, develop rapid feedback systems. The key to successful risk-taking is getting feedback quickly so you can adjust your approach or exit early if necessary. Create systems that give you information about whether your risks are paying off before the consequences become too large to manage. Fourth, build your risk tolerance gradually. Start with smaller risks that you can easily afford and build your risk management skills. As your capabilities and resources grow, you can take larger risks. Strategic geniuses build risk-taking as a skill, starting small and scaling up systematically. Think about your biggest current opportunity, the one that could significantly improve your life if you pursued it successfully. What risks are involved in pursuing this opportunity? Now, think about the risks involved in not pursuing it. What opportunities might you miss? What growth might you forfeit? What regrets might you have later? Most people only evaluate the risks of action. Strategic geniuses also evaluate the risks of inaction. They understand that in a rapidly changing world, standing still is often riskier than moving forward strategically. Right now, your risk tolerance is expanding. As you understand these principles, you're beginning to see uncertainty as opportunity instead of just threat. You're developing more sophisticated risk analysis capabilities. You're becoming more comfortable with strategic risk-taking. Here's what most people don't understand about successful risk-taking. It's not about being brave or lucky. It's about being strategic. Strategic geniuses take risks that others won't take because they see opportunities that others can't see. And they have risk management skills that others haven't developed. Strategic risk-taking requires 3 capabilities that most people never develop. First, pattern recognition, the ability to see opportunities in uncertain situations. Second, scenario planning, the ability to anticipate multiple possible outcomes and prepare for each. Third, adaptive execution, the ability to adjust your approach based on feedback and changing conditions. Your risk management capabilities are developing right now. You're learning to see risk more strategically. You're understanding how to evaluate opportunities that involve uncertainty. You're building the mental frameworks required to take strategic risks successfully. The most successful people in any field are strategic risk takers. They pursue opportunities that others avoid because of uncertainty. They build businesses, create innovations, and achieve results that seem impossible to people who only take safe, predictable actions. Your relationship with risk and uncertainty is about to become a strategic advantage. Instead of avoiding uncertainty, you're going to learn to navigate it strategically. Instead of seeking only security, you're going to pursue strategic opportunities that others are too risk-averse to attempt. Chapter 10. The Strategic Timing Mastery. When you act determines everything. Strategic geniuses understand that timing is not just about being punctual or meeting deadlines. Strategic timing is about recognizing the optimal moments for action and positioning yourself to take advantage of timing patterns that others don't see. Here's what most people miss about timing. Everything operates in cycles, patterns, and rhythms. Markets cycle between growth and contraction. Relationships cycle between connection and distance. Personal energy cycles between high and low. Opportunities cycle between available and unavailable. Strategic geniuses learn to read these cycles and time their actions accordingly. Most people act when they feel ready or when circumstances force them to act. They make decisions based on their internal state rather than external timing patterns. They miss opportunities because they act too early or too late. They struggle unnecessarily because they're fighting against natural timing instead of working with it. Strategic geniuses study timing patterns in every area of their life and career. They understand when to enter markets, when to launch products, when to make requests, when to negotiate, when to wait, and when to move aggressively. They synchronize their actions with favorable timing instead of acting randomly. Your personal timing patterns affect everything you do. You have natural energy rhythms throughout the day when you're most creative, most analytical, most social, most focused. You have longer cycles throughout the week, month, and year when you're more productive or more reflective. Most people never study their personal timing patterns and therefore never optimize their actions for peak performance. Environmental timing patterns affect your opportunities and results. Economic cycles, social trends, technological developments, seasonal patterns, demographic shifts. All of these create windows of opportunity and periods of challenge. Strategic geniuses track these patterns and position themselves to benefit from favorable timing. Here's the strategic timing optimization protocol. First, study your personal timing patterns. Track your energy, creativity, focus, and mood throughout different times of day, week, and month. Identify when you perform different types of activities most effectively. Schedule your most important work during your peak performance periods. Second, analyze environmental timing patterns relevant to your goals. What cycles affect your industry, your market, your opportunities? What trends are emerging that could create future opportunities? What seasonal patterns affect your activities? Strategic geniuses become timing pattern experts in their areas of focus. Third, develop timing intuition. Beyond analytical pattern recognition, strategic geniuses develop an intuitive sense for optimal timing. They can feel when the timing is right for action and when it's better to wait. This intuition develops through experience and conscious attention to timing outcomes. Fourth, create timing flexibility. Build your resources and capabilities so you can act quickly when optimal timing appears. Many opportunities require rapid action when the timing is right. Strategic geniuses prepare in advance so they're ready to move when timing conditions are optimal. Right now, consider your most important goal. What timing factors affect your ability to achieve this goal? Are there seasonal influences, economic cycles, personal energy patterns, industry trends, social patterns? Understanding these timing factors can dramatically improve your strategic positioning. Your timing awareness is already improving as you consider these concepts. You're beginning to think about when to act, not just what actions to take. You're developing timing consciousness that most people never cultivate. Here's something most people never realize. Your timing in finding and engaging with strategic development content like this is not accidental. Your timing in being ready to learn these concepts reflects your strategic development stage. Strategic geniuses recognize when they're ready for new levels of growth and act on those timing opportunities. Strategic timing often requires patience when others are impulsive and speed when others are hesitant. Most people have the timing backwards. They act quickly on unimportant decisions and slowly on important opportunities. They're impatient with development processes and hesitant about strategic moves. Strategic geniuses reverse this pattern. They take time to make important decisions carefully and act quickly on time-sensitive opportunities. They're patient with long-term development and urgent about optimal timing windows. Think about the most successful actions you've taken in your life. Notice that many of them probably involved good timing, either conscious or unconscious. You were in the right place at the right time with the right preparation. Strategic geniuses make this kind of timing synchronization happen more often by understanding timing principles. Your timing mastery is developing right now. You're becoming more conscious of timing patterns and timing opportunities. You're learning to synchronize your actions with favorable timing instead of acting randomly based on internal impulses or external pressures. Strategic timing will become one of your most valuable capabilities. When you master timing, you achieve better results with less effort. You encounter less resistance because you're working with natural patterns instead of against them. You find opportunities that others miss because you're positioned correctly when timing windows open. Chapter 11. The Strategic Presence Architecture. Your presence is your power. Strategic geniuses understand that how you show up in any situation determines how others respond to you, what opportunities become available, and what level of influence you can exercise. Presence is not about charisma or personality. Presence is about the energy, authority, and capability that you project through your being. Most people have never learned to control their presence consciously. They show up randomly, projecting whatever energy happens to be dominant in their current emotional state. Sometimes they appear confident, sometimes insecure, sometimes they seem authoritative, sometimes uncertain. This inconsistent presence creates unpredictable results in their interactions and relationships. Strategic geniuses architect their presence deliberately. They choose how they want to show up in each situation based on their strategic objectives. They cultivate specific presence qualities that serve their goals and practice projecting those qualities consistently. Your presence operates on 3 interconnected levels that most people are unaware of. The first level is your physical presence, your posture, movement, energy, and spatial positioning. The second level is your emotional presence, the feelings and atmosphere you create around yourself. The third level is your mental presence, the thoughts, intentions, and consciousness you project. Most people only control their physical presence occasionally and have little conscious influence over their emotional or mental presence. Strategic geniuses learn to orchestrate all 3 levels simultaneously to create the specific impact they want to have. Your current presence patterns were established unconsciously through your personality development, social conditioning, and accumulated experiences. You learned to show up in certain ways based on what felt safe, what got positive responses, and what helped you fit in. These patterns might have served you in the past, but they might not serve your current strategic objectives. Here's the magnetic presence activation method. First, define your strategic presence identity. How do you want to be perceived in professional situations, in social situations, in leadership situations? What qualities do you want people to associate with you? Confidence, intelligence, authenticity, power, warmth, competence. Choose your presence qualities strategically. Second, align your physical presence with your presence identity. Your posture, gestures, movement, eye contact, and spatial positioning all communicate information about your status, confidence, and capabilities. Study people who naturally project the presence qualities you want to develop. Notice how they carry themselves physically. Third, cultivate your emotional presence. The emotional atmosphere you create affects everyone around you. Practice generating the emotional states that match your strategic presence identity. If you want to be perceived as confident, generate genuine confidence internally. If you want to be perceived as calm authority, cultivate calm authority as an internal state. Fourth, develop your mental presence. Your thoughts, attention, and consciousness create an invisible field that others can sense unconsciously. When you're mentally scattered, people sense uncertainty. When you're mentally focused and clear, people sense authority and competence. Train your mind to project the mental qualities that serve your strategic objectives. Right now, notice how your presence is shifting as you integrate these concepts. You're sitting differently. You're breathing differently. You're thinking differently. This is your strategic presence beginning to emerge automatically as you understand these principles. Think about someone you know who has powerful presence. When they enter a room, everyone notices. When they speak, everyone listens. When they make requests, people respond positively. This person has learned to project presence consciously, and you can develop the same capabilities. Your presence affects every interaction you have. People make judgments about your competence, trustworthiness, and value within seconds of meeting you based primarily on your presence. These judgments determine what opportunities they offer you, how much respect they show you, and how much influence you have with them. Strategic geniuses understand that presence is a skill that can be developed through practice and awareness. They study presence like any other strategic capability. They experiment with different presence approaches and refine their presence based on the results they get. Here's what most people don't realize. Your presence is not just about impressing others. Your presence affects your own psychology and capabilities. When you project confident presence, you actually become more confident. When you project authority presence, you actually develop more authority. Your external presence reshapes your internal experience. Your presence also affects the quality of opportunities that come to you. People offer bigger opportunities to individuals who project the presence to handle those opportunities successfully. They give more resources and support to people whose presence suggests they can use those resources effectively. Strategic presence requires authenticity combined with conscious development. You're not pretending to be someone you're not. You're developing the presence qualities that already exist within you and learning to project them consistently. You're becoming the most powerful version of yourself. Your strategic presence is emerging right now as you engage with this material. You're developing presence consciousness. You're beginning to show up more powerfully in your life. You're projecting the energy and authority of someone who takes their development seriously and invests in strategic growth. This presence transformation will affect every area of your life. Your professional relationships will improve. Your personal relationships will deepen. Your influence will expand. Your opportunities will multiply. All because you learn to architect your presence strategically instead of leaving it to chance. Chapter 12. The Psychological Influence Supremacy. Strategic geniuses make others want to follow their lead. This is not manipulation or coercion. This is understanding how human psychology works and using that understanding to create mutually beneficial outcomes. When you master strategic influence, people feel better about themselves when they're around you, and they naturally want to support your objectives. Here's what most people get wrong about influence. They think influence is about changing other people's minds through argument, persuasion, or pressure. This approach creates resistance and resentment. Strategic influence is about understanding what people already want and helping them see how supporting your objectives serves their goals, too. Your influence capacity is determined by how well you understand human psychology and how skillfully you can create value for others while advancing your own objectives. Most people focus only on their own goals and wonder why others don't support them enthusiastically. Strategic geniuses design outcomes where everyone benefits from supporting their objectives. Human psychology operates according to predictable principles that most people never study systematically. People want to feel important, competent, and valued. They want to avoid loss and pursue gain. They want to maintain consistent identity and make decisions that they can justify logically. They want to reciprocate value and maintain positive relationships with people they respect. Strategic geniuses understand these psychological principles and design their influence approaches accordingly. They make people feel important while asking for support. They frame requests as opportunities for others to gain value. They align their objectives with others' identity and values. They create logical justifications for the decisions they want others to make. Most people try to influence others from their own perspective instead of from the other person's perspective. They explain why they want something instead of why the other person should want to give it to them. They focus on their own benefits instead of creating benefits for others. Here's the strategic influence architecture system. First, understand the other person's psychology before attempting to influence them. What do they value? What do they fear? What do they want to achieve? What do they want to avoid? How do they make decisions? What kind of people do they respect and listen to? Second, design mutually beneficial outcomes. Instead of trying to get something from others, create situations where others benefit from giving you what you want. Frame your requests as opportunities for others to achieve their goals, solve their problems, or express their values. Third, establish credibility and rapport before making requests. People are influenced by individuals they respect, trust, and like. Invest in building relationships and demonstrating your competence before attempting to influence important decisions. Strategic geniuses build influence capacity over time. Fourth, use ethical influence techniques that respect others' autonomy. Present information clearly, create positive associations, appeal to logical reasoning, and allow others to make their own decisions. Avoid manipulation, deception, or pressure tactics that could damage relationships or create resentment. Think about someone you need to influence regarding an important objective. Apply this framework to that relationship. What does this person value? How can supporting your objective help them achieve something they want? How can you frame your request to appeal to their psychology and priorities? Right now, your influence capabilities are expanding as you understand these principles. You're beginning to think about influence more strategically. You're developing empathy and perspective-taking abilities that will make you more effective in all your relationships. Strategic influence also requires understanding group psychology and social dynamics. People are influenced by what others in their reference group think and do. They want to make decisions that will be approved by people whose opinions they value. Strategic geniuses understand these social influence patterns and use them ethically. Your influence is not just about getting what you want. Your influence affects the quality of all your relationships and the level of cooperation you receive in all your endeavors. When you influence others skillfully and ethically, you create positive relationships that benefit everyone involved. Here's something most people never realize. Your ability to influence others is directly related to your ability to create value for others. The more value you can create, the more influence you naturally have. Strategic geniuses focus on becoming increasingly valuable to others, and influence becomes a natural byproduct. Strategic influence requires long-term thinking. Instead of trying to win every individual interaction, strategic geniuses focus on building their overall influence capacity over time. They make deposits in relationships that they can draw on later. They establish reputations that make others want to support them. Your influence mastery is developing right now. You're understanding how to think about influence more strategically. You're learning to consider others' perspectives and create mutually beneficial outcomes. You're building the foundation for dramatically improved relationships and cooperation. This influence capability will serve you in every area of your life. Your career will advance more rapidly because you can influence colleagues, supervisors, and clients more effectively. Your personal relationships will be stronger because you understand how to create value for others. Your leadership impact will expand because you know how to inspire others to support important objectives. Chapter 13. The Communication. Weaponization. Your words become reality-shaping weapons when you understand how to use language strategically. Strategic geniuses don't just communicate information. They program reality through the language patterns they use with others and with themselves. Every conversation is an opportunity to influence outcomes, build relationships, and advance strategic objectives. Most people use language reactively. They say whatever comes to mind in response to circumstances and other people's communication. They express their emotions without considering the strategic impact of their words. They communicate primarily to release internal pressure rather than to create external results. Strategic geniuses use language proactively. They choose words, phrases, and communication patterns that serve their strategic objectives. They understand that language doesn't just describe reality. Language creates reality by influencing how people think, feel, and act. Here's what changes everything about communication. Your words program other people's minds and your own mind simultaneously. Every statement you make influences how others think about the situation and how you think about the situation. Language is mental programming software that runs automatically once it's installed. Your communication patterns were established unconsciously through modeling the people around you during your development. You learn to speak like your family, your community, your peer group. You adopted their language patterns, their emotional expression styles, their ways of processing and discussing experiences. These inherited communication patterns might serve you well in some situations, but they might limit your effectiveness in others. Strategic geniuses consciously develop communication capabilities that serve their strategic objectives instead of just expressing their personality or cultural programming. Language operates on multiple levels simultaneously. The surface level is the literal meaning of your words. The emotional level is the feelings your words generate in yourself and others. The identity level is how your words reinforce or change identity perceptions. The reality level is how your words influence what people believe is possible and real. Strategic geniuses learn to orchestrate language on all levels simultaneously. They choose words that convey their intended meaning, generate optimal emotional responses, reinforce desired identities, and expand possibilities in the minds of their listeners. Here's the reality programming communication protocol. First, eliminate language patterns that limit possibilities. Stop using words and phrases that make goals seem impossible, circumstances seem permanent, or problems seem unsolvable. Replace limiting language with language that expands possibilities and suggests solutions. Second, install empowering language patterns in your communication with others. Use words that make people feel capable, valuable, and excited about opportunities. Frame challenges as growth opportunities. Present problems as puzzles to be solved. Describe setbacks as learning experiences that build strength. Third, upgrade your internal dialogue language patterns. The way you talk to yourself programs your own psychology and capabilities. Replace self-criticism with self-coaching. Replace doubt language with confidence language. Replace problem-focused language with solution-focused language. Fourth, develop strategic conversation architecture before important conversations. Plan your key messages, anticipate responses, and design the conversational flow to achieve your desired outcomes. Strategic geniuses don't wing important conversations. They architect them strategically. Right now, notice how your internal dialogue is changing as you integrate these concepts. You're beginning to think about your goals more positively. You're using more strategic language to describe your capabilities and possibilities. This is reality programming language at work. Think about your most important relationship. How could you use more strategic language in your communication with this person? What language patterns would make them feel more valued and supported? What words would expand their sense of possibility? What communication approaches would strengthen your relationship? Your communication power is expanding as you understand these principles. You're developing language awareness. You're beginning to choose words more strategically. You're understanding how to use communication as a strategic tool instead of just an expression mechanism. Strategic communication also requires understanding your audience and adapting your language to serve their psychology and communication preferences. Different people respond to different language patterns. Strategic geniuses become skilled at reading their audience and adjusting their communication style accordingly. Your strategic communication capabilities will transform your relationships and your results. When you communicate more strategically, people respond to you more positively. They're more likely to support your objectives, more willing to collaborate with you, more interested in maintaining positive relationships with you. Here's something most people never realize. Your communication style affects your own psychology as powerfully as it affects others. When you use confident language, you become more confident. When you use solution-focused language, you become better at finding solutions. When you use possibility-expanding language, you see more possibilities. Strategic geniuses understand that every conversation is a strategic opportunity. Every interaction is a chance to strengthen relationships, advance objectives, gather information, or influence outcomes. They don't waste conversational opportunities on meaningless small talk or negative communication patterns. Your language mastery is developing right now. You're becoming more conscious of your communication patterns and their strategic impact. You're learning to use words as tools for creating the outcomes you want instead of just expressing whatever happens to be in your mind. This communication capability will serve you in every situation where you interact with other people. Your professional conversations will be more effective. Your personal relationships will be stronger. Your influence will expand. Your results will improve. All because you learn to use language strategically. Chapter 14. The Relationship Dominance System. Strategic geniuses make every relationship strategic. This doesn't mean using people or manipulating relationships. It means understanding that your relationships are your most valuable strategic assets and investing in them accordingly. The quality of your relationships determines the quality of your opportunities, your resources, and your results. Here's what most people get wrong about relationships. They think relationships just happen randomly based on chemistry, compatibility, or circumstances. They invest in relationships based on how those relationships make them feel instead of based on the strategic value those relationships could create for everyone involved. Strategic geniuses understand that relationships are investments that compound over time. They choose which relationships to prioritize based on mutual value creation potential. They invest their time and energy in relationships that can benefit everyone involved at higher and higher levels over time. Your current relationship portfolio was assembled mostly unconsciously based on proximity, similarity, and emotional chemistry. You probably spend most of your relationship time with people who were available when you needed social connection, who share your interests or background, or who make you feel comfortable and accepted. This unconscious relationship selection process might have provided you with emotional support and social connection, but it might not have provided you with the strategic relationships that could accelerate your growth and expand your opportunities. Strategic geniuses audit their relationship portfolio regularly and make strategic adjustments. They identify gaps in their relationship network and systematically build relationships that fill those gaps. They strengthen relationships that provide mutual value and minimize time invested in relationships that drain energy without providing strategic benefits. Relationships operate according to value exchange principles that most people never understand consciously. Every relationship involves an ongoing exchange of value, emotional, intellectual, social, professional, financial, or other forms of value. The strength and sustainability of relationships depend on maintaining positive value exchange ratios over time. Most people focus primarily on what they can get from relationships instead of what they can give. They evaluate relationships based on how others make them, others can do for them. This approach creates unbalanced relationships that eventually become unsustainable. Here's the strategic relationship optimization method. First, audit your current relationship portfolio. Categorize your relationships based on the value exchange patterns. Which relationships provide you with learning opportunities, which provide professional advancement possibilities, which provide emotional support, which drain your energy, which could provide mutual growth opportunities. Second, identify relationship gaps in your strategic development. What types of people could accelerate your growth if you had quality relationships with them? What expertise, connections, or perspectives are missing from your relationship network? What relationships could provide you with opportunities to contribute value while receiving strategic benefits? Third, invest strategically in high-value relationships. Identify the relationships that provide the greatest mutual benefit potential and invest more time and energy in developing those relationships. Look for ways to create value for these people while deepening the relationship quality. Fourth, design new strategic relationships systematically. Instead of waiting for valuable relationships to happen randomly, identify specific people who could benefit from relationship with you while providing strategic value to your development. Approach relationship building as strategically as you would approach any other important objective. Right now, think about your most strategically valuable relationship. How could you strengthen this relationship by creating more value for this person? What could you offer that would benefit them while also advancing your strategic objectives? How could you deepen this relationship to serve both of your goals better? Your relationship consciousness is expanding as you consider these principles. You're beginning to think about relationships more strategically. You're understanding how to create more value in your relationships while receiving greater strategic benefits. Strategic relationships require long-term thinking and consistent investment. You build strategic relationship capital over months and years through regular value creation, reliable support, and genuine care for others' success. This relationship capital becomes a strategic asset that provides opportunities and resources when you need them. Your strategic relationship capabilities will transform your opportunities and results. When you have strong strategic relationships, opportunities come to you instead of you having to seek them. Resources become available to support your objectives. Challenges become easier to navigate because you have relationship support systems. Here's something most people never realize. The quality of your relationships reflects and affects the quality of your thinking. When you surround yourself with strategic thinkers, you become a better strategic thinker. When you build relationships with people who pursue excellence, you raise your own standards. Your relationships either elevate your development or limit it. Strategic geniuses also understand relationship systems and networks. They don't just focus on individual relationships. They think about how their relationships connect to other relationships and how to position themselves strategically within relationship networks. They become valuable connectors who help others build mutually beneficial relationships. Your relationship mastery is developing right now. You're learning to think about relationships as strategic investments. You're understanding how to create more value for others while receiving greater strategic benefits. You're beginning to build your relationship portfolio more systematically. Notice how your relationship with yourself is evolving as you integrate these concepts. You're treating yourself as a strategic asset worth investing in. You're creating value for your future self through your current development activities. This is the foundation for all other strategic relationships. Chapter 15. The Career and Wealth Domination Protocol. Strategic geniuses design their economic reality instead of accepting whatever financial circumstances happen to them. They understand that career advancement and wealth creation are strategic games with learnable rules, and they master those rules to achieve financial results that seem impossible to people who approach career and money reactively. Here's what most people get wrong about career and wealth. They think success depends primarily on hard work, luck, or circumstances beyond their control. They work harder instead of working more strategically. They hope for better opportunities instead of creating better opportunities. They accept their current economic level as permanent instead of treating it as a starting point. Strategic geniuses understand that career advancement and wealth creation are functions of value creation, strategic positioning, and resource optimization. They focus on becoming more valuable, positioning themselves strategically within valuable systems, and optimizing their use of time, energy, and resources to generate superior returns. Your current career and financial situation is the result of strategic choices you've made or failed to make over months and years. Your skills, your positioning, your relationships, your opportunities, your financial habits, your investment choices, all of these exist because of your strategic decisions or your lack of strategic thinking. Most people approach career development reactively. They apply for available jobs instead of creating opportunities. They develop skills randomly instead of strategically. They network casually instead of systematically. They save and invest without comprehensive financial strategies. This reactive approach produces predictable results, slow advancement, and moderate wealth accumulation. Strategic geniuses approach career and wealth proactively. They study the systems they want to succeed within. They develop the specific capabilities that create the most value within those systems. They position themselves strategically to capture the opportunities those systems generate. They optimize their financial strategies to accelerate wealth accumulation. Career success depends on understanding value creation within specific systems. Different industries, companies, and roles create and capture value differently. Strategic geniuses study these value creation patterns and position themselves to participate in high-value activities that generate superior career advancement opportunities. Wealth creation depends on understanding how money works as a tool for creating more money. Most people trade time for money and spend most of what they earn. Strategic geniuses optimize their earning capacity, minimize unnecessary expenses, and invest systematically to create passive income streams that eventually exceed their active income. Here's the strategic success architecture framework. First, audit your current career and financial positioning. What value do you create? How does your value creation translate into career advancement and financial rewards? What skills could you develop that would increase your value dramatically? What strategic positioning changes could accelerate your advancement? Second, study the success patterns within your chosen field. Who are the most successful people in your industry? What skills do they have? What strategic moves did they make? What opportunities did they pursue? What relationships did they build? How did they optimize their financial strategies? Model their approaches while adapting them to your situation. Third, develop a comprehensive strategic plan for career advancement and wealth creation. Set specific financial targets and career objectives. Identify the skills, relationships, and opportunities required to achieve those objectives. Create systematic plans for developing those capabilities and accessing those opportunities. Fourth, optimize your execution systems for consistent progress. Design daily and weekly systems that ensure consistent progress toward your career and financial objectives. Track your results and adjust your strategies based on feedback. Strategic geniuses execute their plans consistently over months and years. Right now, think about your career and financial goals. Apply strategic thinking to these objectives. What value could you create that would justify higher compensation? What skills could you develop that would open better opportunities? What relationships could you build that would accelerate your advancement? What financial strategies could you implement to optimize your wealth accumulation? Your strategic thinking about career and money is already evolving. You're beginning to see career advancement and wealth creation as strategic challenges that can be solved through systematic planning and execution. You're developing the mindset that creates superior financial results. Strategic career development requires long-term thinking combined with consistent short-term execution. You build valuable capabilities over months and years. You position yourself strategically for opportunities that might not be available immediately. You invest in relationships and reputation that pay dividends over time. Wealth creation requires understanding multiple financial optimization strategies simultaneously. Increasing earning capacity, reducing unnecessary expenses, optimizing tax strategies, building emergency reserves, investing for growth, creating passive income streams. Strategic geniuses orchestrate all these elements as an integrated financial